And shaboom. All right, everybody. Welcome to Houston Have a Problem. Kind of a special episode because we got some weird rocketing going on tonight, and let's just speculate. Everyone's aware that after hours, GameStop and others went zoobity zoom. Now, some are saying it's because of the Wall Street Journal article stating that GameStop is going to launch their own crypto market along with Loopring. And that's a Loopring coin rocketing as well. But there's several stocks, MRIN, EXPR, Naked, AMC, others that are tied in with the XRT ETF that, you know, some are saying, well, maybe it was just covering FTDs on XRT that caused everything to rocket after hours. What was the volume? It was like 800,000 shares or something. It went up $40 in 20 minutes, something like that. So yeah, zippity zop zoom zoom is what we had. Now, what does that mean for the rest of the week? We have what, $121 million in puts got vaporized in about 5 minutes. So that's a lot of naked shares that need to get covered. Next week, week 2 of the month, we should probably see a little bit of gamma if this continues tomorrow. Get a bit of gamma on Monday. I'm a doofus. All day today I was like, well, I could spend $700 and get like a 135 call on GameStop for the 21st or whatever. I don't know. I could use that money when I go to Switzerland. I don't know. And I would have made like $4,000 if I just spent that $700 on a call. And oh well. So you win some, you lose some, you hem and haw, and then shabam. Yeah. So Vansivg. Houston, can you please interview Jeff Snyder? Love the one with Al. Need more. Jeff Snyder. Okay, I'll find out who Jeff Snyder is. I am planning to do a couple of interviews while I'm in Switzerland, but I'll probably do with might do another one with Al. I've got one coming up with Stonk Bowl. It might be after I get back from Switzerland. My brain's not able to keep track of everybody right now. But I'll probably try to do a couple while I'm over there. I just got to figure out how to do the math on the time difference. Like, I think 5 p.m. is 5 p.m. market? No, like 3 p.m. is market open. I'll have to look at it and figure out what I'm doing here. But yes, let's try and get some interviews lined up. Why not? Okay, what's everyone thinking here? Anna Rulnick, Houston, what's up with the Oilco MMTLP? Is it really changing? Is there anything to do but sit and wait for the dividend? Not much we can do. You just sit and wait for it to turn over, and then wait for news on sale of the oil fields. And there we go. I would have thought that stuff was started changing over by now, but they might be waiting until the 21st when the end of those Torchlight shares, the last of the options are done. Because there's apparently a boatload of options still of Torchlight shares left over from, the yearlies. So a lot of weird stuff perhaps happening this January as a result. Grandpa Barney, thoughts on the Wall Street Journal story, cover over story. Good evening, brother. You're talking about the journal story saying GameStop is launching a crypto dividend or crypto marketplace, NFT marketplace. Yeah. It happened. It came out right as that after hours pop happened. So either that is news and why we launched, or it was cover for why we launched. And that's why we're speculating this evening, trying to figure out which is which. They said what we've been talking about since April, that there's going to be some sort of crypto marketplace involving NFTs related to GameStop and Loopring. And, we've been sitting on this and waiting and sitting and waiting and sitting and waiting and sitting and waiting and speculating and trying to figure, it's going to be July 4th, it's going to launch. It's going to be July 31st. It's going to be, New Year's, whatever. and it sounds like it's finally coming to fruition. There's supposedly going to be a big unveiling at CES in Las Vegas regarding this. And it'd be a great way to kick off CES with this announcement, and then a great way to end CES with an announcement of, like, I don't know, Once Upon a Time in Shaolin going out as a crypto dividend to everybody on this new marketplace. It's a great way to guarantee millions of users of Loopring Layer 2 like that, because you got millions of investors who would all want their dividends. And it's a great way to set Wall Street's hair on fire. Because why not? If you can, why not? Rock that boat, baby. Let's go screaming into the night. Let's get it going. Okay. Andrew, look, what's the cause of the price action after hours for GME and AMC? A little fund closing up? FOMO? Buying the dip? What do you think? Well, we had a big dip of crypto right before that rip. I personally think that GME rocketing just like raised the tide for all the other boats around it. Not everything went up, but a lot of things that seem to be associated with those ETF baskets that GME is involved with. Although I did see something pass by on the chat here saying that XRT itself didn't go up, which is weird, right? If all the other stocks went up, why didn't XRT go up? I don't know. Speculation, baby. Clean me up, Scotty. I don't trust today's GME pump. The narrative of NFTs is being pushed only by scummy media and not by GME themselves. This pump has nothing to do with NFTs, I'm sure of it. So, that must mean we'll get depressed. Oh, GME didn't announce anything when it gets hammered down. And then GME will announce something and goes right back up again, right? Ride that roller coaster all over again. Jason Blackwell, Houston, if MOAS isn't triggered by the end of January, I have a bad feeling I might be waiting a long time. P.S. I'm a steady state believer. Hope we can still be friends. You're a steady state believer? What are you, 1945? Those who know, steady state believers mean that you think the universe is basically exists in this form. It might be growing, but more matter is replacing it as it grows, like a conveyor belt. And we don't have any evidence for that. So, you know. Just gotta look in a telescope. Look back 13.8 billion years and go, that shit's old. David Dixon. If we get a 30-day halt, will we know we are in a 30-day halt, or will we just have to keep refreshing our screens every few seconds? I'm sure that they would have to announce something like that. Different than like when they just do a circuit breaker. So they do a circuit breaker, and you know, we know because it's been like 10% in just a few minutes. They would have triggered circuit breakers today if this run had happened during hours. We would have seen several circuit breakers go with a run like that. Oh, you got a little bone, buddy. All right. Hopefully she's not going to hear it. Oh yeah. Oh, you gonna work on it over there? Okay. Are you going to go gather more bones? What are you doing? What are you doing? All right. I know. I leave all day, and then I come back, and then I talk to the computer, and you're just so bored. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I think if they do a 30-day halt, they would make an announcement. But doing a 30-day halt would be the dumbest thing they could possibly do. All these hedge funds need to buy this stuff up and close out positions, and the buy orders would just pile up and pile up and pile up. And when they finally turn trading back on, they'd immediately halt because the price would rocket to the moon, and they have to do a halt anyway. So, like, their goal should be to close this out as fast as possible and not drag it out. If they drag it out, it's just going to get worse, and we're going to refuse. We're going to be pissed off, and we're going to refuse to sell even more. Yeah, I mean, them turning off the buy button is what got us here. If they had just kept the buy button on and let the FOMO blast that stock until everyone got vaporized, then people would have sold at $1,000, been like, "Woo! Look at what I did." But by turning off the buy button, caused us to go in and investigate why they turned off the buy button. Then we discovered the shenanigans that were involved, and you know, the margin that's used for payment for order flow is in jeopardy. A lot of these trading apps are going to get vaporized, and we started investigating, you know, the the way short sales work, and naked short sales in particular, and it allowed more people to get in, and they're pissed off. And if they had just let it go to $1,000, we would be done and out, and this never, like, oh, well, that was a crazy squeeze that happened, and people been high-fiving each other because they bought a new car with their money. But now we're so mad that no one's willing to sell, right? Like, the stock went to 160 whatever dollars in 5 minutes today, and we didn't sell, right? All we do is buy more. 160 is still a deal because that was a deal a month ago. So, you know, we just sit and we buy more. Because we're pissed off, we're not going anywhere. Okay. BW brand after hours volume for AMC was as big as normal trading hours for most of it. Interesting. A lot of buying going on. What did it? I haven't looked at this in a couple hours to see actually what stuff finished at today. I have 160. All right. That's doable. Flat after that. I mean, that's not too shabby. Crypto is absolutely cratering once more. Crypto craters once a day. It is absolutely nuts. We broke that 42,000 floor in Bitcoin, which means I think the next floor is like 35,000 or something. So Bitcoin might be taking a shit as well. So Bitcoin's down to 41 and change. Ethereum's down to 32 and change. Doge's at 15. Litecoin's at 128. Goodness gracious. Those things are getting hammered hard. And they all have the same graph. Liquidation. And when they liquidate, are they liquidating into Tethercoin and then can't change it for cash? What apps are these hedge funds using to, what platforms are they using to liquidate this stuff? I don't know. Ooh. Darb got a 218 call. Nice. And it went zoom zoom. When you open your app tomorrow morning, you're gonna be like, damn. Way to go. BTB brand crypto is gonna dump for a year. Possibly. Let's see here. Javi A, is there any GME company statement about the Wall Street Journal NFT claim? I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, let me go. Let's find out. Chrome. I forgot to turn on the Chrome. Which are we? That one. Okay. Turn off the Google Earth. Swamp. GME NFT marketplace. What we got? Got Wall Street Journal. We got CNBC says it surges on report will create NFT marketplace. Market Watch, which is owned by Citadel, says GameStop soars. Reddit crowd cheers. Ars Technica, GameStop takes off as plans for NFT markets come to focus. So we got 4 major things talking about it, but GameStop. I don't think GameStop says anything. They're still doing the call for creators thing. Yeah. So I think they still have a little game going on here. Yep. A little gaming on. Still that going on. Okay. But nothing else on here. Nothing else at all. Eh. All right. Boom. Oh, son of a... I thought I'd turn that off. I saw the thing that said bullish on Houston's second intro, and I was like, oh, I turned that off. I'm cool. Now I'm turning it off. There we go. Okay. G. Fount. YYC. Houston. If this crashes the American economy, could the U.S. dollar lose its reserve currency status? Also, Mecha Rock? Mecha Rock. I mean, the U.S. has gone through crashes before, and we haven't lost that status yet. Mostly because we struck a deal with the oil cartels and make them trade in petrodollars, which is U.S. dollars. I think if petrodollars ever switch to euros or Chinese yuan or something, we might be screwed. But for the most part, we got a big, scary military. Still have a big, giant economy, and we're still a bully. So I don't know how much of an economic collapse would be needed to vaporize the U.S. dollar, but the bailouts that would be required for the next big market collapse is going to be pretty huge. So, we'll see. Also, Mecca Rock. Oh, the rock in Mecca, the meteorite that is in the whatchamajigger at Mecca that everyone goes and does a pilgrimage to. Okay, so the story about the rock in Mecca, the meteorite in Mecca, was that there was a Bedouin camp of animists, like pagans, that would worship this rock out in the desert. Strange, weird black rock. They said it came from space, so they'd worship it. And Muhammad came along and was like, hey, stop worshiping that rock. And they're like, screw you, this rock came from space, we don't know who you are. And so Muhammad was quite the diplomat. He did lots of marriages for power to, collect lands and get tribes on his side, and basically took this rock that was worshipped by these animist Bedouin folk out in the Arabian Peninsula and sort of did what Christianity did. They just sort of absorbed the tradition. They're like, hey, all right, this rock's spiritual. You can still be a Muslim and have this rock around. They're like, cool, we're Muslim. And that's one of the ways that he gathered up followers. So he do stuff like that. It's just if you want people to adopt Christianity, you take Sol Invictus and the Christmas trees and all that stuff, and you make it Jesus' birthday. Boom, done. Now, whenever you're celebrating the pagan stuff, you're actually celebrating Jesus' birthday. It's a great way for these big religions to get followers, is to just take what they're doing and bring it in close. Fern Marks, thank you for super chat. Stonk Trader, brother, I appreciate your take on the insider executive trading in AMC. I took a beating on Twitter when I posted the info. I took a beating too. I mean, some of them are still mad. It didn't help that all weekend I was talking about the cataclysmic debt that they've come up that they had to take on to survive COVID. Because, I mean, no one's going to movie theaters for a year. Of course, you're going to lose billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Now, so they take on a bunch of debt to survive, and I totally get it. But that debt is at relatively high interest rates, and that debt needs to be dealt with. And I talked about it all weekend, and all weekend they're yelling at me on Twitter. And then first thing Monday morning, Adam Aaron tweets like, whoa, boy, we got a lot of crazy high interest debt. We should probably do something about this. I was like, thank you. Thank you for pointing out exactly what these chuds have been yelling at me for. And they're like, you got any proof that they took on this debt to survive? And I would post an article about how AMC can't survive without adding more debt. And they're like, so what? But, we'll see where it goes. They have to make some moves. And they're going to have to renegotiate this debt. And how they're going to do it, I mean, ideally it would have to be, made it long-term and lower interest rate. That'd probably be the best move. It may have to coincide with another stock sale. Now, if they do it shady again and they sell directly to a hedge fund through dark pools, I mean, I hope that all the investors chew their heads off. Those are shenanigans that should not be happening. If they negotiate and turn a lot of these loans into convertible bonds, then the minute we have a rally, a price trigger will happen, and then millions, perhaps hundreds of millions of new shares will flood the market as these bondholders all of a sudden have their bonds turn into stock. And if they want to make their money, they sell it, right? And then they made their money back. So, ideally they renegotiate, they get a lower interest rate longer term. And when they do stock sales, they sell it to retail slowly over months to raise their money. That's exactly what GME did, and it worked. And they raised billions. So, will they listen to me? I doubt it. They don't know who the hell I am. But that's kind of what I think they need to do. All right. BW Brand, buying the crypto dip seems like a smart thing to do as long as the government doesn't try to shut it all down. Yes. And, the dip that I think that will happen, should the MOAS be a thing, will coincide with the rest of the market taking a big dip, and that might be a good time to buy. It's like, if you had bought the S&P 500 March 2009, you would have made, 25% a year for the next decade, essentially. And that's a good time to buy. When that stuff's at rock bottom, but where is rock bottom? 2 years ago, Bitcoin's trading at $3,000. Now it's, bouncing up and down between $30,000 and $60,000. Where does it go to when it has its other big dip here coming up? That is, someone's going to get it at that dip, and more power to them. There was talk about the triple halving of Ethereum, making it worth $150,000 by the end of the year. I don't see any crypto having a zoom like that until we deal with the MOAS situation. Because so much of this crypto is being held to dump for liquidity for a lot of these hedge funds that I think there's big dips in the future. Plus, the whole problem with Tether being a $70 billion Ponzi scheme. We got to worry about that too. A lot of folks won't be able to get money back at all, what they put in, because that money's just gone. Okay. Oh yeah, and then Saitama coin. So Saitama mask is finally going to get released this weekend. It did a little zoom. It's been going the opposite direction of everyone else, I believe. It was at least earlier this week. It's still up a little bit, but it's up about 40% over what it was, a couple months ago. So let's see if those like drugged out bros can figure out what's going on. And I think I missed a super chat from someone. Did I? I'm sorry if I did. Fernandez, GoFundTree. Oh, Sultan. Sorry. What's your take on Be Big and the new CEO, Lisa King? I know nothing about Lisa King. I'm still waiting on when we're going to get those shares, those Divi shares. So it should be happening soon. Be Big, I don't think, had any action whatsoever today. They are still heavily shorted. S3 had them at like 270% short interest just back in October, November. And Be Big, where are you on my list here? Yeah, Be Big did nothing today. They are absolutely bottomed out. They're at 240, dipped down to 220, and like they're not really doing anything. Just a little bit ago, they're at $11 back in September, and then right back down again. So let's see where this goes for us. They're very shorted. So yeah. Okay. Brendan and Ella's fun adventure. I got 2 calls at 1:34 for GME. That's about where I was thinking getting. That's where I wanted to get this morning, and 8 calls for AMC at 23. Expire next week. 5,000 green tomorrow. Good job. Good job. I wish I had not hemmed and hawed and done that. I was like, oh, if I lose $700, it's like, and I would have made a pile, and I didn't. Good for you. Good for you for doing what I didn't have the balls to do. Monkey butt calms my soul. Monkey butt, they want you, baby. Why don't you up in here? Why are you sitting back there? Why don't you get a second camera back there if you keep doing that? Come on. Come on. Come on, monkey butt. Come on. Come on. Come on. They want to see you. There you go. There you go. You can go up there. Yeah, go. Come on. All the way. All the way. You don't have to be under the blanket. You can just go right there and be happy, dog. Everyone wants to see you. They'll listen to me, but they want to look at you. That's what it comes down to. Okay. Houston almost never pulls the trigger. It's true. I miss the boat a lot. I'm always like, and then, poof. Oh, man. That's the story of my life. Sometimes I do pull the trigger. And then, I hold for a day too long and nothing happens. Houston, can metamaterial realistically reach the same high as Newegg got into July? Go Mariners, happy birthday. Some Legacy 10 Productions. Yeah, I think it's really possible. So if we kind of do a metamaterial brief summary, you had 160 million Torchlight preferred shares, or Torchlight shares that got reduced by a 7-to-1 reverse split and then became metamaterial shares. Metamaterial itself was at 130% short interest the week they merged, and then the minute the merger happened, the short interest just vanished all of a sudden. A whole bunch of Torchlight preferred shares were released to everybody that had held Torchlight, so they got 160 million or so of these preferred shares, which were placeholders for an eventual cash dividend. The rules stated if the cash dividend was not given out by January 1st, that those Torchlight preferred shares would have to roll over into a new company. And this new company is called Oilco. And so sometime this month, your shares should become Oilco shares. And Oilco is pretty much a wholly owned subsidiary of Metamaterials. And the problems are, one, metamaterial stock is in two forms. There's metamaterial that's traded on the NASDAQ, and there's metamaterial X that's traded on the Canadian exchange. They're the same stock. Now, the Canadian shares are going to be absorbed by the U.S. shares on the NASDAQ, and 100 million shares of their float is going to vanish as a result. So the float is going to shrink a whole bunch. The Torchlight shares are still tied up in options and yearlies that are scheduled to expire on the 21st with all these other yearlies, and there are millions of shares tied up in these. How many of them are naked? I have no idea, because Torchlight doesn't exist anymore. So what does that even mean? Now, if the oil company gets sold, which is what the rumors are all saying, that sometime this month they're going to announce the sale of the oil fields in the Oregonde, of the university lands that they have with 4 billion barrels of oil on it, then a cash dividend will go out to everyone holding those Oilco shares. The problem is that the metamaterial preferred shares were not supposed to be traded. They're supposed to be locked in people's accounts and not move at all. A market maker named GRS, can't remember what it's called, decided, what the hell, we're going to start trading them. And so they started trading them. And the brokerage is like, I guess it's trading now. Nothing was supposed to be traded. The executives at Metamaterial said, this isn't supposed to be trading. This is wrong. And my guess is because there's probably about 1 billion synthetic shares out there, that the hedge funds needed that stuff to trade so they can gobble up as many of those Torchlight preferred shares as possible and get rid of them before dividends ever issued. Because if the oil fields sell for what we think they're going to sell for, it might mean a $10 to $20 dividend for everyone that has a Torchlight preferred share. And if there's 1 billion naked shares out there, 10 times 1 billion is $10 billion in liability, or $20 billion in liability if it's $20, or more if it's more than that. The hedge funds don't have that kind of cash to pay the payment in lieu, so it's cheaper for them to go out and get the Torchlight preferred shares for $1.25, basically convincing people to trade them, and delete them that way, so they can delete the liability for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost them to actually have to pay out for all those things. Now, metamaterial, if the sale goes through for Oilco, metamaterial would have a windfall of, I don't know, $1 billion cash on them. They already have got a serious chunk of cash that they're sitting on right now. They managed to sell some shares right before the close of market when they were merging, and they're sitting on a few $100 million in cash. Plus, they're backed by the Canadian government, because the Canadian government's a big owner. Nova Scotia is a big owner in the company, and if they sell these oil fields, they're gonna have like $1 billion of cash to sit on to further develop production lines and do everything else. So shorting them is a really, really, really bad idea. Even though you'll read from Carrington and these weird law firms associated with them that they're just a scam, they've got nothing, they're going to be sitting on so much cash that it won't matter if all these companies think, all these hedge funds think they're a scam, because they're just sitting on a pile of money. They can do whatever they want. It's like GameStop. GameStop is $1.5 billion in cash to do all sorts of R&D and to build awesome stuff and to do their things. Metamaterial is a company that is a research and development company. They figure out technology and license it, and they have other companies make it. License it to Samsung or to whoever. The AR glasses that are going to be super popular coming up are probably going to be made all with films printed by Metamaterials. So they're going to be a huge company coming up. And you know, if this dividend goes out and it has to be paid, expect the MMTLP shares to just rocket. Expect Metamaterials itself to rocket, as you know, hedge funds won't be able to come up with the cash to pay these dividends. So there's going to be recalls for all the ones they lent out, or for all the brokers that had to create synthetics to put in place because of those naked sales. I think there's a big potential for this to, you know, when it gets to T35, after whatever announcements are made, big time. All right. Is that short enough? Long enough? I don't know. I spent a lot of time on that. Okay. Someone wants me to interview Dr. Marco Metzler? Sure. I'll interview him. I'll interview all these people. Why not? I might be getting yelled at by Get Real, because he likes to message me and tell me I'm screwing things up. Okay, I think I got Silton there. We're cool. All right. Okay. Scranton 37, Houston, what if we mow ass while you're in Switzerland? Fantastic. I'm all for it. Why? Because the evening time is when I shine, and that's when the market is open. And I think I was meant to, if I'm ever going to be a day trader, I think I was meant to be living in Europe to do it, because I just cannot do mornings, man. I'm an astronomer for a reason. I got like one morning in me, and then a week of I can't do mornings again after that. So, yeah. I am flying. I fly out on Tuesday just after the market closes, and I land in Switzerland just before the market opens. So at least I'll be able to like sit on the train and stare at my phone. And one of the benefits of having T-Mobile as a service is that I get unlimited data, unlimited calling, unlimited text, pretty much anywhere in the world, which is super duper handy if you need to stare at your phone and to trade something. That's, you know, other companies, they might charge you a fortune to do that, but T-Mobile doesn't. Granted, I have no service inside my home, so I have to use Wi-Fi to do anything, but elsewhere in the world, it seems to work great. Okay. All right. Crime scene. Did AMC and GME jump at the same time? Basically, as far as I can tell, several of those stocks all kind of ran at the same exact time. And Loopring went bring at the same time too. Okay. I'm only like 20 minutes behind the chat. That's not so bad. We're usually worse than that by now. Flan Murphy says, GME run today wasn't to do with the announcement of the NFT marketplace. They had no official announcement. They're just saying this on mainstream media to give a run today a reason. Perhaps. I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't doubt if it's figure. But then, GME can still make their official announcement and make it go again after everyone's all disappointed about about GME not making the announcement or something. Yeah. The J thing. Do you believe the Big Bang Theory, or could it be the outlet of a black hole, which is a white hole, right? What do you think? Everything points to this stuff exploding outwards at incredible speeds and incredible temperatures 13.8 or so billion years ago. Now, a white hole is theorized. Basically, when a black hole gets compressed into nothing, you have infinite mass and infinitely small space, and it doesn't sit well with people's heads. So they think there's a hypothesis that it rips a hole in the space-time continuum, and somewhere else matter is spitting out. Now, which is cool, but the amount of matter that would spit out of one of these black holes would depend on the size of the black hole, right? So if you have a black hole, it's the size of a big star that collapsed, then that's how much matter would be spitting out the white hole. If you have a black hole the size of the center of one in one of these giant galaxies that's like millions of stars in mass, or sometimes billions of stars in mass, then that's how much could be spitting out the white hole on the other side. The problem is that inside our own universe, we don't see any white holes anywhere spitting mass out. So this is where string theorists be like, oh, it's going into a parallel universe or whatever. But until we can invent a way to survive falling into a black hole, and we can find one close enough that we can survive falling into, we're not going to have any of our answers. And then we're not going to have anyone be able to come back and tell us what the answers are, because you can't go into a white hole. You only get spit out of them. Gerardo Spatuzzi. Is the price action aligning with Girk's theory? Can they start to bring down again as usual? Worried about this control they have. I mean, if this continues, if we get some pop still tomorrow, by the time there's close, then I expect a little bit of gamma on Monday. And then after the gamma is done, I'll probably try to hammer it down again. But if there's another announcement in the wings waiting to happen, say, I don't know, Thursday of week 3 of the month, they might not be able to do shit after that. Like if GameStop can come out and say, hey, everybody owns GameStop, you're going to get one hell of a crypto NFT, and it's not going to be fungible, and only people who have GameStop are going to get it, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be the Wu-Tang, and everybody loves the Wu-Tang. And so, suck it, hedge funds. This might cause a big old gamma spike to happen, or FOMO spike going into week 3. Get a big gamma week 3. The price goes nuts for week 4. And then Girk and his army all exercise their February 18th options week 4. And we double that gamma. And then there's some sort of data record that happens, and the price is just going to keep going. There'll probably be a 3-month climb if this doesn't trigger MOAS from the announcement, something like that. So the data record would be, 30 days out from when the announcement's made. So that's sometime in February. And once, the crypto goes to everyone and we discover that there's hundreds of millions or billions of accounts that didn't get the crypto dividend because the hedge fund that shorted it had no ability to do their payment in lieu, then that's when a whole bunch of forced recalls happen and a bunch of forced buying. And also gives the opportunity for, speculative number 9, for GameStop to be like, hey, DTCC, you failed in your duty as the market for our stocks. And so we want to leave your company and put them onto our own exchange. And that could cause forced buying everywhere and be a MOAS trigger like nobody's ever seen. So basically the hedge funds can either let it rip this month or can let it rip in March or April. If this is the route that GameStop's going down. And remember, I'm just speculating here. I know that if I was in power and I had the ability to do absolutely diabolical things, I would. And why wouldn't Ryan Cohen? I mean, the dude will tweet a poop emoji. What will he do to your hedge fund if he's willing to tweet a poop emoji. Right? He's a billionaire. He doesn't care. He wants to you know, be a legend. And that, I think, is, you can't be a legend without a legacy. And that's I think his driving force right now. Okay. Cosmic Lightning Warrior says he'll do a show with you. He reached out to me, so I'm gonna contact Cosmic Lightning Warrior. Probably be sometime when I'm in Switzerland. I just got to figure out like days I can do shows while I'm there, what time it's going to be, how much energy I'm gonna have. I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked the first couple of days of skiing, and then I'm probably gonna sleep for like 24 hours from that whole I'm jet lagged and I'm using my body stuff. But I'm gonna try and do at least 3 shows a week while I'm there. Maybe I'll try to bring the computer up on the mountain if there's a beautiful bluebird day and you guys can like hang out on the peaks of the Alps with me and we'll chit chat. There's some good spots. I got internet up there, so we'll see what we can do. And then there'll be no monkey cam. She'll be stuck at my friend's house being a miserable sad dog, right? Just a miserable sad dog. Yeah. But no, she'll have WrestleMania with her buddy Harper. All right. And everyone keeps saying no official announcement from GME yet. Yep. No official announcement. Ty Bolak, what happens to options when they do a 30-day halt? Not a clue. I have no idea what happens to those options when they do a 30-day halt. I don't know if they get halted for 30 days and then trigger the next time around, or if they just close at whatever that price was. It seems kind of unfair to me. But I seriously don't think a 30-day halt is something that they're going to do. I see nothing but cataclysm as a result of doing a 30-day halt in trading. They're not Evergrande or a company that's absolutely going under, that's defaulting on hundreds of billions of dollars in bonds that, you know, like, whoa, we're just going to delist this thing. That is different than like a stock that needs to be closed out and should be just moonshotting as a result of it, because they're just gonna make it worse every single time they want to stop the trade of the stock. It will just make it worse in the long term. They just got to pull that band-aid, man. Just rip it right off and be done with it, and let everybody, you know, everyone's invested in this stuff, move up the socioeconomic ladder, and just be like, well, we got more people in the club today. That's their option. Because, you know, otherwise we're going to look like Kazakhstan on the streets, and it's not going to be fun. Daphne, I don't think Fidelity has real after-hours trading. If I try to place a limit order in a lit exchange, it cancels or it doesn't let me do it. Are you able to place orders after hours in Fidelity? I have never once had success on any trading exchange having an order trigger after hours. Even if I select yes after hours, specifically this price, I can watch it ride back and forth across that price several times. Won't sell, won't buy. I've never had success with it. So I'm terrible at that. I hope someday, you know, it will work for me, but it hasn't so far. Stephen Bevan, question. I'll get excited when Tesla, Apple, and Bitcoin starts crashing. That's when the MOAS party starts. I have a ton of loop ring though. Do you think loop ring will crash with everything? Not if loop ring is being used to power everything on layer 2. Loop ring is a cryptocurrency, but also sort of acts as the stock in loop ring as well. Because if you're investing in loop ring, you're investing in the idea of loop ring. And so that's the way I see it. And if this partnership is as good as everyone thinks it's going to be, then I think loop ring is fine. Luis Rojas. Houston, what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence? There are companies with projects saying machines will think by themselves. Hawking and Tesla warned about danger if things get out of hand. I think AI is inevitable, but I think also AI will doom us all. I think artificial intelligence, especially since so much of it is being devoted to military use, and we're looking at a future where we're going to have machines fighting machines as proxy wars for humans, and it just kind of defeats the whole purpose of war. If like all you're losing is robots you don't care about, then where's the emotional investment, right? And if these machines are designed to seek out threats, then they're going to recognize that humans are the threats to the machines, and we're going to get Skynet on our hands. And yeah, I think that you make machines smart enough, they're thinking for themselves, then they're going to come up with their own code of morals, and they're going to create their own bands and tribes, and they're going to see us as something that's soft and squishy and inferior and in their way. And, Borg is Legion. Okay. Kenny Booth, Houston, how would the post-action affect options? Obviously, no trades post-hours. It just means that you're going to have a hell of a ramp, between close yesterday and opening today. That implied volatility is going to go, whoa! And the stock price, the price of those options are going to zoom with them. They'll settle out. If the trading doesn't make it go up much higher, they'll kind of even out, and you'll be looking at $1, maybe $10 in value of per share for every $10 that the stock goes up. That makes sense. So if you bought your 130 somethings for $700, expect if it's a 140, it's going to be $1,700. 150 will be $2,700. 160 will be $3,700, and so on for the total. That's about it's about where they'll probably shake out. And I apologize, Sultan, for not answering your super chat question. This is the weirdest thing. If you do the green ones, it pops up on the top of my chat bar, and the blue ones, for some reason, don't pop up there. I don't know why that is. So I only see them if I happen to scroll by. I don't know why there's blue, orange, yellow, and red all pop at the top, but blue does not. Oh, sorry, green, orange, yellow, and red pop up at the top, but the blue color does not. And I don't know why. Why, YouTube? Why do you do that to me? Okay. And people talking about fake squeezes. Where in the world is Keith Gill? Probably in a very luxurious chair, sipping on a Guinness, be my guess. He's basking. If you were Keith Gill, he'd be basking as well. He's an excellent fellow at basking, I believe. Brent Pac-Man sent a super chat, but says message redacted, so I don't know what he was asking. If you do have something you want to ask, hopefully I'll see it there. But there's a Hey Houston that popped up also. I've got like the real-time chat on one side and then the one I'm trying to catch up on this side. So my eyes are trying to catch them all. Hey, buddy. Did Ernest get home? Yeah. All right. Shablop. There you go. All your buddies are home now. Legacy 10 Productions, Houston. Why is the moon exactly the same apparent angular size from the Earth as the sun during an eclipse? Coincidence? Pretty much. The moon comes in and out. So between apogee and perigee, it actually is a difference about 40% in the size. So if you're lucky, when there's a solar eclipse, you get it when it's closest to us. Therefore, it seems bigger, and it blocks out more of the sun. If you're not so lucky, it's further away, and it's a smaller angular size, and the sun is bigger than the moon, so you get this ring around it. So you can't quite get that total darkness fun stuff happening. Everton, Lacerda, Houston, what is the first image the James Webb Space Telescope will take? That'd be something that Las Vegas bookies should be betting on, because you got an infinite space, so you can set the odds of whatever you want. Now, if I were a Vegas bookie for James Webb Space Telescope first light, I would give really high odds for the Hubble Deep Field, or Ultra Deep Field, done with the James Webb Space Telescope, just so we can see just how many more galaxies are in there that the Hubble wasn't able to pick up. I would also go big on one of the fancy nebulas, like the Horsehead Nebula, because those are really popular. And after that, a system with a known planet we've visibly seen before, so that we can see just how well this thing operates. Those are my top 3 choices for first light for the James Webb Space Telescope. After that, the odds I think get smaller as to what they're gonna point it at. Crypto crashing because of things going on in Kazakhstan. Yeah, Kazakhstan enticed a whole bunch of the Chinese mining operations to come there for cheap electricity, and they moved there, so it's a significant amount of the hash rate. Something like a sixth of all the hash rate is coming out of Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan is having power shutdowns and supply problems with fuel, and seems to be devolving into a civil conflict that has taken the attention away from Ukraine, and Russia is sending troops. Russia's got huge vested interest in Kazakhstan. Their president is a puppet of Putin. The Russian spaceport is in Kazakhstan. Russian oligarchs own huge amounts of their mining and oil and gas operations there. So there's a definite financial incentive for the Russian government to just quell this thing the way they quell other uprisings in satellite states around there. They did it in Chechnya. They did it in Georgia. They have no problem. They will just do that whenever they can. Tankman142, what happened to NSC 10 pawn shop rule? After comments were due, it seemed to have been forgotten. That's the one where they will accept all the holdings of a hedge fund as collateral and give a loan, right? So that they can close out positions, which is essentially a dark pool sale. Because once a hedge fund it loses all their positions, they're never going to be able to pay back that loan. So, and so I think that's the one. It's been postponed several times, and I don't know when it's supposed to go live. I think they'd want to get these things squared away as we get into this weird, trippy time that we're in, where everything's precarious. Mike C., anyone think this is a plan to suck people in, getting people hyped, and buying a bunch of options and then tanking the price again? Yeah, maybe. But I think there's so many options that are going to close in the money by the third week of January anyway that it's just that third and fourth week are going to have to go zoom. Justin Shackelford, Houston, can you talk about the theory behind 218 call options that you spoke about earlier? This is assuming a run-up at the end of January. Yes. So January 21st is the yearlies. This is when there's just a boatload of options that are in the money, and a lot of them were sold 1 or 2 years ago and never exercised, and they were lotto tickets, and they're naked. And so 2 years ago, the price is at $4. Someone for a penny, $1, bought $45 call options, bought $100 call options, bought $200 call options. They bought insanely high price options, and the options makers didn't have the shares. They're like, free $2, whatever, I don't care. I'll sell 10,000 of these things and pay for my kids, private school in Zurich. So they did this. They sold all these options, and never thinking in a million years that the price of GameStop would get above $100. And so last January, when all these things went in the money in that third week of January, the gamma squeeze of these option sellers went nuts because they had to make good on all of these options that went in the money. And so that fourth week of January, we saw a giant spike in the price up to $480 before the buy button got turned off. And so much of that was a gamma squeeze from these options guys trying to make up for all the naked options they sold, combined with the fear of missing out by everyone on the internet going, oh, I need to get this before it goes to $1 billion trillion. And so this time around, we have, 100 times more investors in the stock than we did in January of last year. December 2020, there were 10,000 retail investors in GameStop. By January 27th, there were 900,000 retail investors in GameStop. And today, millions of investors in GameStop. So there are so many more people now invested in this stock that these options are all going to go in the money, and there was no way for the options guys to find the shares to cover those options. They don't have them. And so that's going to mean week 4 is going to have a hell of a gamma squeeze. And if there's a hell of a gamma squeeze week 4, you can buy the weeklies for the 4th week of January and buy a bunch of February 18th options and then exercise them both. If you exercise them both, you get twice the gamma, or maybe 3 times the gamma, because you've got all the January 21st options that need to be covered, all the January 28th options that need to be covered, and all the February 18th options need to get covered all at once. And this compounds the gamma squeeze, forcing the price into the atmosphere. And so it's kind of a retail way of hopefully triggering MOS. So that's the idea. That was Gherkin's idea and plan and theory. His hope was that we'd have a gamma ramp 4th week of November, which we did. It died after that Monday, though. It didn't last until Wednesday like we hoped. That there'd be a gamma ramp in December, but there wasn't one in December. It just kind of went an entire week, 3rd and 4th week of December. But this time around, whatever boost we had earlier today combines with whatever happens tomorrow, we might get a little gamma next week. If we get a little gamma next week and there's some cool stuff coming out of CES at the end of next week going to week 3, we might have another gamma for week 3. If we have a gamma for week 3 while all those gigantic yearlies are going to get triggered week 3, we could have just gamma. So, that's my Hope Springs Eternal idea of it all. So, yeah. Of course, we can also have a little bit gamma from today, and the next week they hammer it down as hard as possible. And they could sell the crap out of it and drive it right back down again, which, creates more deals to buy, I guess. It is raining really hard out there, Monkey. I can hear it. Oh, I just got to the second intro. The cheers of the second intro. All right. Do an intro hat trick. So now I'm 44 minutes behind the chat. That's where we normally are. We get that far behind. You guys are so funny and so mean. All right. 1337 Gaming, what do you think of that tweet I sent you? Which one? I got a lot of them. I got sent a lot of stuff today and haven't much of a chance to do all the reading. Oh my goodness, I got so much stuff on in my inbox at the moment. I haven't had a chance to read everything yet. I got sent a bunch of videos and a bunch of articles, and I haven't had my chance to review everything. I love it. I love you guys sending me stuff, and I try my best to read everything and to at least get to the meaty part of the videos. But when I have, I'm awake for 16 hours a day, and then I get sent 12 hours worth of videos to watch. It makes it really hard to cover them all. So sorry if I don't get to all of them. I try my best to try and read everything that people send me and to watch everything people send me, but I sometimes just run out of time during the day to do that. Daphne, no question. Just thank you for being such a good sport and so patient with all the questions thrown your way. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you so much. Daphne asked to be removed as a mod because apparently she was asking questions, but my brain was not seeing the blue stuff. Because I don't know if my subconscious assumes that, like, when the moderators who are highlighted in blue on my screen say something that they're just yelling at somebody. I don't know if I see them asking me questions or not, and I apologize. Okay. Super chat from Sir David P. We're united, Sir David. SEC report said last January wasn't a gamma squeeze. The gamma ramp was there, but after the buy button was turned off, people sold their options, didn't exercise. A gamma squeeze is exercising that. Well, I think the nuance in the SEC report was that there wasn't a gamma squeeze for the week 4 sales, but I think there was a gamma squeeze for the week 3 options. Those things triggered a boatload of naked options. And so I think the buy funds, that tiny little pink stuff that they showed in the graph of like the volume of this of purchases by retail and by the hedge funds, I think that pink stuff at the bottom of the graph, I think that was the gamma for all those week 3s that went puny pop. But when the buy button got turned off, there's just no way for them to keep buying. So, if we're not selling, they're not buying, and then drop down from there. And then they found ways to do debt swaps and equity swaps and resets and, create a bunch of naked yearlies for the following January and then use that as cover for their located shares for Reg Show. I think that happened a lot. Much of that SEC report, I think, was them pretending to believe the hedge funds in their testimony and going, hey, they said they closed. But if there's no gamma ramp, how'd they close? If the price didn't go to $1 kajillion, how'd they close? And I think that's the read between the lines of that SEC report was the SEC saying, hey, they said they closed. And that is a big green light for GameStop to do whatever they want with this crypto marketplace. Like GameStop can now release one hell of a crypto dividend, but all the hedge funds said they closed, therefore they have to worry about covering all these naked shares because they closed. And I think that's kind of a wink and a nod to GameStop. They're like, hey, the hedge fund said they closed, so you should be able to do whatever you want. They wouldn't lie to us after all, because that would be perjury. And so we're kind of sitting in that realm at the moment. Meow Meow, what do you think was the cause of tonight's spike? Short exiting, retail FOMO. It wasn't retail. It was after hours. Most retailers don't have access to after hours. Maybe if they do, like me, then I try and nothing happens after hours when I try to do orders. I'm leaning towards a mixture of the Wall Street Journal article doing the announcement for GME, even though there's been no uh, uh, nothing from corporate about the NFT marketplace, mixed with some sort of shenanigans where someone was coming up on they had to close positions on something and they went ahead and did it. And whether that was related to XRT or another ETF that is trading some of these stocks. I mean, MRIN went up 43% at one point after hours. That's a ridiculous amount for that little stock to go zoom on. And it dwarfed the growth that GameStop had today. So it wasn't just GameStop. There was several stocks in there that had a big rip. Naked had it, EXPR had it, AMC had it, MRIN had it. If anyone can identify others that had that zoom today, please let me know. I would love to see them all. Sir David P. Knighted by train splatting. Doomslayers. Nice. I have a friend who is knighted by Queen Elizabeth, Sir Harvey Wolfe. And hell of a guy. But he's been ill, and he turned off all social media, so I don't know how he's doing. Are you bringing back monkey butt back a mom from Switzerland? If I can get myself a nice Swiss miss, I might do that, monkey. You might have a mama wade. Man, last time I went to Switzerland, it was really hard to come home. I was like, all right, get the car shipped out here and figure out how we get monkey butt out here. I might just stay. I may run into that problem again. I really, really like it there. It is just so lovely. And it's cheap. Like, food is expensive, but rent's really cheap. Renting a place at ski in, ski out is cheaper than living here, and I don't get to ski in, ski out anywhere. It is. And now that, like, YouTube is viable for me, I can really do this from anywhere. A friend of mine in Ecuador was like, you should move to Ecuador. It's really cheap in Ecuador, and it's lovely. And, they just built a beautiful house for like $25,000 on 30 acres of land. Like, man, 30 acres of jungle with a beautiful house, $25,000. I might be able to go live in Ecuador. I don't know. It's very tempting. The one problem is that my parents are old as shit, and I'm going to help me take care of them. So, like mom and dad, you guys got to sell your houses and buy someplace in Ecuador and go hang out with me. I don't know. So it's very tempting. It's very tempting to go somewhere and explore the rest of the world. Like, see, I'm nervous Adam Aaron is going to screw holders. That dude looks like he basks his own farts all day. Hoshi Gaming, Houston, I'm the person who asked for the Hawaiian shirt recommendations on Twitter. I just wanted to say thank you for changing my view on shirts and showing me they can be fancy. They can't, look how fancy this, look at the paisleys on this shirt right here. This thing is paisleyed out like nobody's business, and it is a fancy ass shirt. I love paisleys. I have no idea why humans created the design of paisleys, but they're my favorite shape in the entire world, and they speak to me. You can get some fancy shirts. Oh, finally. We got some coordinates here from Stephen Gangan, way up north. Shackleton Voyage of the Endurance, P was a special on it a few years ago, so we're going to go look at South Pole, or Antarctica. Boom. And shaboom. And boom. Boom, boom. Going south. Going south. Going south. And shabam. So Shackleton, didn't they end up here and they left a bunch of stuff, I believe. Rhode Island, Southern Island. They left, there was like, I don't know, 20 bottles of whiskey or something that got buried in the snow here and left behind when they left. And then some the distillery who made the whiskey sent an expedition to go recover the bottles and then auction them off for just piles of money. As far as I remember. But, yeah. So there's Antarctica. This one's the Ross Ice Shelf, isn't it? Is this the Ross Ice Shelf? I can't remember. Might be a West Antarctica. Which one is it? Is that the Ross Shelf or is that the West Antarctica Shelf? That'd be the Ross Shelf, and that's West Antarctica. I can't remember. But that flat earther who won't stop tweeting me just the dumbest stuff. He was tweeting me, and I think he was asking why there wasn't a Google Street View of the middle of Antarctica. And I didn't know how to explain to him why there wasn't, like, why he zoomed in, he couldn't see, like, details. It's a snowfield, man. It's been snowing for 10 million years and just piling up. There is nothing, no features to see. There's nothing. It is what it is. Anyway, I digress. Okay, I only got a few minutes here. We're doing a short one today, and then we will do a long one tomorrow at some point. Not sure exactly when. I still have lots of errands I got to get done before I leave on this trip, and make sure everything's settled. Cats taken care of, dogs taken care of, all that stuff. So it might be another after dark tomorrow night. Well, I'll have to oh yeah, I gotta do stuff for my mom too. Gotta get everything done so everyone's raring to go. Okay. Let's claim his whistle. He must have at least $5 million net worth to get Swiss citizenship unless you marry a Swiss. Cool. All right. Looks like I gotta get myself a Swiss miss. What we got here? JCan, you have to be a bit crazy, and you have to have a bit of crazy and you need to trade options. It's so fun to YOLO in weeklies. It's like going and buying law tickets every week. Yeah, kinda. You get them cheap, and they can rock it real big, and sell it, and just be done. Also, you have the I bought these suckers. I spent $1,000 on weeklies, and I lost $1,000. That's just kind of you gotta like temper yourself for the miserable failure that'll happen like 4 out of 5 times when you play that stuff. Meow meow. I have friends from Egypt, and they say their derogatory term for Africans is the slaves because Africans built the pyramids. Is this true? I mean, everyone in Egypt are African. Well, there was Nubia down in Sudan. There was Queen of Sheba in Ethiopia. That, you know, there's lots of mingling of folks throughout the African continent and these civilizations. If you talk to the Jews, they say they were the slaves that were building the pyramids. But there hasn't been any archaeological evidence that Jews were slaves in Egypt. And so you say that's the right Jew, they get really mad about it. But there hasn't been any archaeological evidence of that. So there were so many slaves from all over, from conquesting groups, that it's hard to pinpoint who and where and why, what got built. I mean, by the time you get to the Ptolemaic era in Egypt, those are all Greeks. Those are a bunch of white people from Greece. Cleopatra was a Greek. She just adopted Egyptian culture because the folks, when Alexander conquered Egypt, he left some generals behind, and they became the Ptolemaics. So they took over there. It's the Mediterranean's a mixed bag. Africa's a mixed bag. I don't know who was what slaves there or not. Lots of cults, lots of religions, lots of ethnic groups. And then, the Arabs came roaring through and intermingled with everybody. And then you had like the Bedouins and the Berbers and all those guys. And then the Greeks and the Romans came in, and just a lot of people had a lot of sex and made a lot of different races out of that whole group. But all right. we'll do one more here. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. A good one here. David Sims says utilization on AMC has trended down the last 6 months. Before June squeeze, it was nearly 100%. Now it's below 75, but short interest is higher than it was in June. What's happening? I mean, short interest is a voluntary reporting. So there has been some push by regulators to force reporting on short interest. So if someone lends a share, they have to report they lent that share, because right now it's voluntary. A lot of that reporting is not happening, and I think by not reporting, that is market manipulation. That people should know who has borrowed shares and how many. That just, that is makes it a fair market. And if you want unfair market, you allow them to do all the shorting they want and never tell anyone. So everyone's kept in the dark. All right, we do have another coordinate. Maybe we'll do one more coordinate before we turn off for the evening here. I got to go there. I got to go there. Come on. Bam, bam, bam. Where are we going? Going Arabia? Going Persia? We're going to a big stadium. That's a big stadium. Azadi Stadium. That's a pretty cool design. I like that. I dig that. What's this thing? Offside Iranian film. It's like a, what is that? What are you? Can I street view you? I want to know what you are. Oh, there's no Google Street View of wherever this thing is? That thing looks cool. Well, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. Whoa, whoa. Wait, help, help, help. Exit. I want to exit. There we go. Well, it's a big stadium. Pretty cool looking. I like that it's just one big giant ramp. I dig that. Where am I? Am I in Tehran? I have no idea where I am. Let's get myself oriented north. I am at Tehran. Right on. I'd love to go visit Iran someday. I have a great uncle who was an admiral in the Navy, and his last tour of duty was the American attaché to the Shah of Iran. And he was like, this is about the period of time when the CIA started spreading a bunch of money around there to keep the Shah in power. So my guess is my uncle probably had something to do with that stuff. But, I found out that I was related to a classmate as a result of that, because they were telling a story about how their uncle was the attaché to the Shah of Iran. I was like, but my uncle was the attaché of the Shah of Iran, and we were like separated somehow, but we were related. And that was very weird to find that out. All right. Another coordinate came up. I can't leave with another coordinate looming right there. It's a Qatar World Cup stadium. Is Qatar like branching out and allowing other nations to do stadiums as well for their World Cup? And a rock. We have ourselves a big old rock. Shipson Aviation Helipad. And this is a rock that's got a hell of a view, that's for sure. Can zoom. I don't know what I'm looking at here, but it's a nice rock. Okay, all right. I am turning off for the night. Sometime tomorrow, I don't know when, we'll get our regular Friday show in. Yeah. So there we go. Monkey butt, is that good enough for you? She doesn't care. All right, everybody. I'm going to bid you adieu. And thanks for discussing and speculating with me tonight. Because I wish I could have come on like during after hours, but I was running errands all day away from a computer, so I wasn't able to do that. But I wish you all a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!